I mean, we're only starting to scratch the surface with those artefacts that came from underneath the KFC site now.
Yeah.
And we're trying to understand where the actual tools came from. So where was the original tool from? Did it get traded? So the idea is, I mean, Greg Glyton told us that, you know, you could view the factory site there, or that tool making site, or a trading site, much like a Bunnings.
Yeah.
So they'd come to the co-operative here, and while they were visiting, they'd say, okay, I need to get myself a better set of tools for a particular job. That whole world of how that operated, people are now starting to get into that sort of thing. Even welcomes to country. How many times have you seen people get up and have a speech? I mean, the welcomes to country that you see in the books is silence. So there was no talking. You know, we sat here, if we were in an Aboriginal setting, I would have sat here for about 20 to 40 minutes just staring at you, and you would have been staring at me. We feel so uncomfortable with silence. You know, you'd think, oh, you're creeping me out. After 40 minutes or so, that they then started to talk. Now, there's a lot you can learn about a person by just sitting there with them, and you don't know them at all. That's what you get out of a text, reading in between the lines. They say it, but people just ignore that sort of stuff. So there's a rereading that has to be done, and a questioning, and there's a lot. You know, there's much to learn. We don't know, but this questioning continues, because with us, you know, as an archivist, I look for things written down, okay, as evidence. But with the culture that's transmitted its knowledge through talk, you know, through speech, through words and gesture, where are the records? The records are in the living people. If you've torn up the landscape and you've torn up the people, then where does that happen? You know, that's what we're dealing with at the moment. We're dealing with fragments, and my work and your work is almost like a mosaic. Bits will fit, and like a jigsaw puzzle, some bits don't fit. And some bits look like they might fit, but then, you know, you just have to keep working with it.
So when you come to writing essays, for example, you don't have to just write what you think everyone else has said. It's actually really a good thing to question these things. So, you know, in the essay we might be writing about social institutions. Do you remember them? Education, family, government, religion. Think about 300 years ago. What were the social institutions that were in place for Aboriginal people? They had law, L-O-R-E. If people did really bad things for the community, they might be speared, where they were given a shield and the people would spear them, or they might be sent into exile.
No such thing as prison.
Yeah.
You were gone.
They had corroborees for that family connection. They had the dreaming and their form of religion. So they still had social institutions, but we came in and took everything away. Yet we don't want people to come in and the big fear-mongering in Australia where they talk about Sharia law. How would we feel if someone came in and imposed a culture on us? That'd be a terrible thing to do. But we've been doing it for 200 years and we think it's okay. So if we look around, for example, across the road, we've got some examples of physical institutions like schools. So one of our great, how would you describe Lawson, Henry Lawson? Was he a poet? A writer. Went to the school across the road there. And I think, I didn't go to school in Australia, but I think most Australians have heard of Henry Lawson. But who got taught about Pummelwoy at school, or Birrabarn, or famous Aboriginal people? It didn't happen. So 300 years ago, what were the social institutions? Maybe in your essay you could say, what were they 100 years ago? When we had missions and people were shipped away and told, if you practice your language or your culture, we'll lock you up, or worse.
This story's right, this story's true. I would not tell lies to you. To us, come take our hand. Set us up on mission land. Told us to read, to write and pray. Then they took the children away, took the children away. The children away. Snatched from their mother's breast, said this is for the best, took them away.
And yet, look, it's changing again. Maybe there's some hopes. We've got an Aboriginal flag over there and an Awabakal organisation across the road there as well. So we're saying, well, maybe we got this wrong. Maybe we really need to think about letting loose of this control and letting Aboriginal people determine for themselves what's the best way of working.
Sent us off to foster homes. As we grew up, we felt alone, 'cause we were acting white, yet feeling black. One sweet day, all the children came back. The children came back. The children came back. Back where their hearts grow strong, back where they all belong. The children came back. Said the children came back. The children came back. Back where they understand, back to their mother's land. The children came back.
So from an archaeological perspective, we've got houses on there now, but it'd be fascinating to know what lies underneath that in terms of trying to understand what's there. And the reason why we try to understand what happened is so that we can understand what's going on now and what we need to do in the future. That's why history is really important. It's not just a fascination to think, oh, isn't that wonderful? It is beautiful to sort of go back in time and be able to experience this landscape. It's quite beautiful. But the real importance for me is how do we wrestle with the problems that we've got now and what can we do about them? And the best way I can see is a marriage between our Western science and our Aboriginal wisdom. That's what we need to do, is we need to bring those two together. I mean, why as a country of boat people that arrived here, do we still lock up people who arrive here by boat? These are shadows which haunt us all the time because our history has not been, haven't dealt with our own baggage, our own skeletons in our closet. So for me, there's a lot of psychology and social work in this.
And you'd like this as well, Gionni. We're going to go back to, when we go back to the classroom after we've had a coffee and stuff, we're going to play some songs. So Treaty by Yothu Yindi. Gionni loves this music, and he's in if you ever get to see a band, he's in a band called the Mansons. Might reappear every 20 years, the band. But I guess the thing is how when people write music, Yothu Yindi's Treaty, or Black Fella, White Fella by Warumpi Band, or the contentious song at the moment by AB Original. Help me, you young people. AB Original song is called, it's about Australia Day. Should we have Australia Day? Should we be celebrating the day at which we actually took people's land and dispossessed them? Should it still exist, or should it be some other day? Should it be on some other anniversary? So we'll look at those songs, and you can analyse the songs and write about the issues. So
I guess on the site, Gionni, is there any, what would you like to see? Should there be some sort of recognition there?
Well, look, it's difficult to say when people are building things all over everything.
Yeah.
But, everyone seems to love their football ovals here. Yeah. And I'm thinking, well, this is like a football oval, but used for ritual purposes. Why couldn't we have respected it rather than build all over it, That's my question. So maybe in a couple of 100 years' time, when everything sort of gets demolished on the site eventually, we might want to bring it back, We might want to bring that bit of ceremonial Newcastle back and have something special on there. But at the moment, our agendas are just too governed by money. We see everything from the point of view of money. And that can be disastrous on many levels. Because the advocates of this believe that the market will fix everything. The Aboriginal world didn't work on that sort of economic imperative. It was just as efficient, but it worked on an imperative of custodianship and love for the land. You had to look after this place because it was like a paradise, and had to be sort of, you had a role to play in it, an active role.
And that's the optimistic bit. Like, you've got the knowledge to do that, you've got the enthusiasm to do that.
See, when I get at 3 o'clock in the morning, is going to come up with a brilliant solution.
And that might be you working with a group of young people and thinking, you know what, we're not going to do it the way it's always been done. We're going to do something completely different, and we're going to start with this, whatever this looks like. So maybe you'll be sitting in some space wherever you're working. I'm guessing you won't be near a computer. I'm guessing you won't be in the middle of a big office like over there. You might have your technology with you, but maybe you're in an open space and something will just strike you and think, we're going to do it this way now.
Welcome to the UST, the great southern land. We stand on sacred ground and keep you bumping to these native sounds. From the land of the kangaroo, gonna show you how we ride. We've been a singing and a dancing since the dawn of time. So jam